And welcome back to the Survive Scale Soar Podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy. Just a quick reminder, this show comes in two formats. Real talk, it's just me and the mic, where I share over 20 years of business experience. And then there's success talks, where I get to interview some of the top people in their respected industry, and they share with you what has made them successful. And today is no different. I have an amazing guest. Juli Morman is on the call with me today. Julie's been a long time realtor, lots of experience, and she's going to share with you her story today. Juli, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me, Jeremy. Happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm glad to have you on the show. It's been a long time coming. I know you and my wife have been friends,
Yes.
and I've gotten to know you a little better after you've made your switch over to JLA Realty. But I want to start with you telling your story and how you got started in real estate.
Okay. I got started 21 years ago, which is crazy to think. My mom is a realtor. She still is licensed today. And my husband has a business background, finance MBA from Baylor. And my mom, a few months before my husband and I got married, said, "Hey, I think I'm going to start a Remax franchise. Do y'all want to do it with me?" And we were like, "What?" I was not licensed. I was working for a developer previously. And at this point in time, Lance had asked me if I wanted to stay home. And after being a single mom for 6 years before we had started dating, I was like, yes, I do want to be a stay at home mom. So my mom approached us, asked us if we would like to do it with her and two other business partners. My husband being the business background, doing, the SBA loan. He would be doing the books and all of that. We jumped on board. And so we actually signed the Remax franchise agreement the week we left for our wedding.
Oh wow,
So,
that's
hey,
the way to
let's buy
mark the
a
wedding.
business. Let's buy a business and get married. So we did that. And then I thought, okay, well, I might as well get licensed. Found out I got pregnant on our honeymoon. So while I was staying at home, I had an older child, Justin, who was 7 at the time. And I decided to do online classes. It was, okay, yeah, this is easy. That's the easy part, right? So I did that. I got my license. I was kind of helping here and there with building the Remax, working the front desk and all of that. In the beginning, I was just, doing it for fun, really, like something to do, something to get out of the house. I like to talk to people, I like to interact with people. So it was something that I was just like, okay, I'll do this for fun. We weren't living or surviving off of anything I made. I can't even remember what I made my first year, but it wasn't much. Basically, Lance being the finance business, he was like, we're going to use this for write-offs.
There you go.
But before I knew it, I was building relationships and my business took off. And at that point, it was really, Lance was doing the background of the Remax business. He had a whole nother career that he still does today. And me and my mom and the other business partners were really running the franchise, but they at that point were a lot busier than I was. So I was doing a lot of the task and dealing with, agents coming in that weren't paying their desk fee, but it just went and got a pedicure. And I was not a happy camper. And so at that point, it was kind of like, okay, do I want to continue doing this? Where I'm trying to put feet in both, dabble in both, or do I really want to focus on my real estate business, which I loved? I loved helping people. I just loved it. And so at that point, we dissolved the Remax franchise. We did not renew it. Half of the agents at our Remax, it was called Remax First American Dream. Half of our Remax agents went to one Remax franchise that was literally 2 miles down the road. And the other went to another Remax franchise that was in the Clear Lake area. And so I was with Remax 20 years. It was actually 20 years right before I decided to join JLA. So that's a little bit of the background.
So what was that internal thing that was pulling you? You said you were more on the administrative side, the recruiting, making sure agents were paying their dues and
Yeah.
all those things. What was that thing that inside of you said, "Hey, you know what? I'm ready to take this step."
I was getting really busy with my personal business. And I liked that aspect of it better than I liked, making sure people were showing up for their floor time. I didn't enjoy that part as much. Now I was friends with everybody. I'm still friends with the majority of agents that worked for us. Some of them are still with us today. But I love selling real estate. I just love it. I mean, there's nothing else I can imagine doing. I remember when our oldest son, Justin, was going off to A&M. He was a senior in high school. He had only applied to A&M. Super smart kid, could have
A
gone
smart kid going
anywhere.
to A&M. Yeah.
Yeah. He could have went anywhere, but he only wanted to go to A&M. And I thought, man, I don't have a college degree. Maybe I should go back and get a college degree. My husband has an MBA, from Baylor. Um, and I talked to my husband about it. I was like, what do you think? Maybe I should go back. And he was like, okay, but why? What's your why? What are you going to do with it? What do Lance is the most supportive person on the planet, but he was like, tell me your reasoning. And I'm like, I don't know. I want to get a degree because, Justin's about to go to college. And I was like, you have a degree? And he was like, okay, tell me. And I was like, there was nothing else that I would want to do. And a degree wasn't going to help me do what I do. And so I kind of got that out of my brain for a little bit. But yeah, I
Yeah.
really enjoy it.
So by then you had quite a bit of experience, and that experience you're
Right.
not necessarily going to learn by getting a college degree, or it's amazing how many new agents they come into the industry, and I've been recruiting for years,
Yeah.
and they think they know everything. I'm like, oh, but wait, you know, you've just learned how to take a test. Now it's
Yeah.
time to be tested.
Which isn't easy. I mean, I was fortunate I passed it on the first time, but a lot of people, I mean, one of my dear friends, Deanne, and maybe I shouldn't name drop her. I don't think she would care, but she's a major top producer and she started out as my assistant and didn't pass the test. I think one or two times, maybe. I mean, it's not easy. It's not an easy test, but none of the classes you take, none of it prepares you for real life working in this industry. None of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to ask you, and I think I know the answer to this. There's many different ways for you to build this business. It'd be open houses or door knocking or cold calling or sphere of influence. What do you find? What have you found to be the driving force of building your business?
Relationships, period. I mean, I was fortunate enough that when I started, I was still fairly young. My kids, like I said, Justin was 8 when I got licensed. He's about to be 29 in January. I had an infant, and then 2 years later, I had JC. And so I was PTO president. I was room mom. I was, the team mom for the kids' sporting teams. And at the time, I was doing that because I wanted to be around my kids, right? And I had the time. I was, dabbling in real estate. Had I known then what that would produce, I would have been like, what? But just relationships. I only work by referral. I'm 100% referral based. Occasionally, I'll get a sign call and I'll work that lead. Other than that, I usually hand it off to one of my friends. But yeah, I'm 100% referral based, and I built my business. When I started with Remax, they heavily supported Brian Buffini, and I've been with Brian Buffini ever since. I don't do any coaching or anything like that with their system, but I've always worked that referral system, and it's benefited me. So I started that at the very beginning. I loved it so much. I became a certified mentor. And so every REMAX I've ever been at, I taught classes and I did it for free, didn't get paid or anything like that. They paid Brian Buffini direct to be in my class. And then I would go to the office 1 to 2 times a week and teach those classes. And I would tell all the agents, okay, we're going to be in this class for, 8 weeks or 9 weeks or 12 weeks, whichever class I was teaching. And I'm going to tell you exactly what to do. And 75% or 95% of y'all aren't going to do it. But I'm telling you, if you do it, it works. Yeah. And it's nothing. It's not rocket science. It's just talking to people that you know, that you like, and that like you back. It's easy.
Absolutely. Yeah. I got kicked out of a champion school of real estate for 6 months for recruiting because I was honest and I said 80% of you in this classroom will not be here in 6 months.
It's true.
And it's not rocket science. It's very, very easy. Well, it's simple, not easy.
Right.
And I think that's important to know. Like when you say building a relationship, I think a lot of people equate that with it being surface level. And I don't think that is with you. Tell me what it means to build a relationship.
I mean, they're my friends. They're people that, teachers. I have a house on the market right now that the girl was JC's elementary school teacher. And at that time, I was room mom and PTO president. JC started her freshman year of college today. You stay in contact with those people. I post on when they post on Facebook. That's not fake, or that's genuinely like, oh my God, the boys are so cute. Can't believe they're this. None of it is fake. If you're fake, people are going to see right through it. You're genuine. I mean, I'll be honest, there's a few clients I've had over the years that were friends of mine that if they called me today and said, will you list my house? I would say, sorry, no, because it just wasn't a good fit. Now I have very few of those. I probably maybe 2 or 3. I've only had to fire 1 client in 21 years. I think that says a lot. And it was a friend of mine from high school. And it wasn't him, it was the wife. She was basically micromanaging me. And, so if you're fake, people are going to see through that. You have to be genuine. So I work with people that I like and that like me back,
What do you think has been the most unique transaction that you've done in the course of your business over 20 years now?
Oh gosh, the most unique. I have so many unique ones. I don't know, really. The most unique. I mean, I always say I'm going to write a book because I have so many stories.
So who would you put in that book? Do they really want to be in the book?
I mean, mostly I'll say this. So with that being said, there's probably 2 or 3 clients I would never work with again, right? I have so many repeat clients. There's clients of mine that I've sold, bought and sold, done 9 to 10 transactions with them in 21 years. I'm like, hey, people are like, they're moving again. I'm like, life happens, but the majority of my clients are amazing. My title reps will tell you that. My lenders will tell you that. They are like, you always have the best clients. And I'm like, I know, but I feel like your energy kind of brings people in that are like-minded. So, people trust me, and I'm like, listen, if God wants this house to sell, it's going to sell. If God wants you to have this house, you're going to have this house. And I would say probably 99, I don't want to say 100, but 99% of my clients are believers. And so they just trust the process, right? I always tell people, I don't have a crystal ball. I can come here, like today is a crazy day for me. I have 3 listing appointments. I'm showing a new buyer that I actually sold the girl's parents a house and aunts a house. But today's a crazy day. But when I go on these listing appointments, I tell people, I don't have a crystal ball. A house that I think is going to sell like that may sit for months. A house that I think, oh man, this house, I'm going to list it, but I don't think it's going to sell anytime soon. Contract, over asking the next day. You just don't know. It takes one buyer. So with that being said, I kind of got off on a tangent. I I don't really have any unique situations. My book would consist of just crazy stories, right? Lenders that totally dropped the ball, title companies, the person on the other side of the transaction.
Yeah.
For the most part, my clients are awesome. I've been lucky.
So I heard you say something there, and I'm a person of faith, and I
Right.
know you're a person of deep faith as well. How does that play a role in just your day-to-day business?
It's everything. I mean, my clients know. Like yesterday, I mean, Lance and I serve at our church, United City, shout out. We love our church. We were there last night for a big serve conference that they have every year. I was gonna do an open house yesterday, and from 2 to 4, I get out of church about 12:45 ish, and the house was in Clear Lake. And I'd asked one of my coworkers, I was like, "Hey, can you work the last hour of this open house for me? This time frame worked for my sellers, great, but I really need to leave because we have this serve conference at church." Well, Sylvia ended up calling me and saying, "Hey, I'll just do both hours," and I'm like, "Great." But my clients know, like, I do work on Sundays every year. Every year, I tell myself, I'm not going to work on Sundays. I'm not going to do it. But it's just when you have a business as large as mine, it's just not possible. I mean, yes, it's probably possible. I shouldn't say that. But to do the work and take care of my clients the way I want to, I work on Sundays, but I don't work before church. So that's just really important to me and my family. My daughter just started at Dallas Baptist. Faith is just a big part of our family, and it's what guides me. And I think, the biggest part of this business is, relationships, but also this is somebody's biggest asset, buying and selling a home, if they don't own a business. Okay. And so I always tell people, you want to trust who's guiding you. And so I tell clients, I'm like, I treat every transaction like it's me and Lance buying that house or selling. And I think one of the benefits that I've been blessed with because of my husband is I'm not just looking for a paycheck. I'm not just trying to get, pay my mortgage or car note or whatever it may be and get them in a house. I'm going, "Hey guys, listen, I know you really like this house, but let's take a look at this inspection report. Are you going to be okay if you have to buy a roof in the next 2 years if this seller won't pay for it?" Or I wouldn't do it, but it's ultimately their decision. But I think just the faith part of it is that people can trust you. They know you're a person of faith. I'm not going around, selling people stuff that I wouldn't sell myself.
Yeah, it's something that I share with my team members and my coaching clients is, when you do the right thing, the paycheck will show up.
Yep.
You shouldn't be hunting for the paycheck.
Yeah.
Stop
So
doing the
true.
right thing for people.
So true. Just, the saying goes, do as to others as you'd want done to you. And I truly believe that. I sell lots. I think I have a lot on the market right now that's 50,000, and I sell multi-million-dollar homes. And so I treat everyone the same. If you have a house that's $100,000 and you have a $3 million house, guess what? You're getting my same photographer. When I've sold, houses of mine personally, same, you're getting the same no matter what. You're getting the same service. And I think people see that and recognize it and appreciate it.
Yeah, and it goes back to authenticity and being genuine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
100%. Before I get into my last question about advice that you would give to an agent new in the industry, you burn up the roads. I think I talked to you one day. We were getting prepared for this. You were like in New Waverly and like Baytown, then like Huntsville. I mean, you were all over the place. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so I grew up in Deer Park, graduated from Deer Park High School. My dad graduated from Deer Park High School. My brother, my oldest son, grew up there. And about 9 years ago, Lance and I, our oldest was at A&M. Lance really wanted to be on the water. And so I was showing commercial property actually out here in the Atascocita area. And there was a builder out there. And I was like, Lance, maybe we should look out here. So originally we built a house on the water in Atascocita, and then had some issues. And 2 years later, we ended up, purchasing the house now that we have on Lake Houston, which we absolutely love. A little big for just the two of us now being new empty nesters, but we love it. We wanted to be on the water. And I was worried, to be honest with you, Jeremy. I was like, I've built this amazing business. I was one of the top producers every single month, selling houses in the Deer Park, Pasadena, LaPorte area. And I was nervous. I said, Lance, we're making this move, but what if I lose all my business? But again, we had faith. We had faith that God was going to take care of us. And thankfully, luckily, all my Deer Park people still use me. But what happens when what happens when you've been doing this as long as I do and you work by referral is some of those Deer Park people move to Friendswood. A group of them move to Summerwood. A group of them move to Mount Bellevue. And so it starts to spread, and then their parents sell and they want a house in Bentwater and Conroe or Lake Livingston. I try to keep it within a 2-hour drive. I think that I know those markets. I've lived here my whole life. So, I just did Sam Houston and Huntsville. I have one that I'm selling in Cleveland that closes Friday. Today, I will be in Deer Park, Pasadena, LaPorte, and Alvin, and League City. That's my day today. So I will burn up some roads today. It's a late day for me. I'll get home probably about 9 o'clock. But I'm an empty nester now. So I have some time. But yeah, I do. My business is pretty broad, but I do try to keep it within a 2-hour. Anything over 2 hours, I refer out. I've been doing it long enough. I know people, Dallas. I have a lot of people going to Dallas and coming back from Dallas, Tyler area. So I try to keep it within a 2-hour minimum, but there are days when I look at the little clock on my car when I pull in the driveway and I've been in my car 8 hours. That doesn't count going into houses, but the car has literally been on the road 8 hours. But I love it. I listen to podcasts. I listen to books. I, listen to my praise and worship music. So people are always like, you drive everywhere. And I'm like, yeah, I do. But I love what I do, and I love helping people.
Well, and I think that's a testament to putting in the work. Like
Yeah.
I see these agents that are like, I don't want to drive outside a 2 mile circumference. I'm like, your business is not going to be very big.
Nope.
Then. You've
Yeah.
got to be willing to put in that work, and it's something simple, not easy. Yet it's a testament to your business that you're willing to do that, and
Oh,
it's a
yeah.
relationship build business, and so you have these relationships which are important, and you're willing to do that, and it comes back again and it blesses you.
Right.
And
Right.
so I think that's great. All right, final question.
Okay.
So I'm a new agent. I'm coming into the market today, which everybody's like, oh, the market's bad. No, it's not. It's amazing.
I've had a great year.
Yeah. And so they're in the market now. Maybe they're new, maybe they're 6 months in, and they're
Mhm.
like, okay, I'm listening to this person that's got an amazing business, has been in it 20 years and has all this experience. What is one piece of advice that you would give to them today that if they were to take that and implement it, they could be successful too?
So much advice. One thing I would do is I would say is you got to put like you just said, you got to put in the work. If you treat it like a career, if they had a job before, which most realtors that come into the business had a job before, you don't see a lot of people that graduate from high school, get their real estate license. Most people had a job before. If you treat it like a job, and you say, okay, 8 to 5 or whatever, which we all know if you're in this business, there's no such thing as 8 to 5. There are people that do it, and more power to them. I'm not one of them. But if you put in the time, you're going to reap the rewards. Yeah, there's days where, no, I don't want to work on a Saturday or Sunday, or I want to come home and sit on the couch and watch football with my husband or go on the boat or whatever. But guess what? That's not going to sell my client's house. That's not going to get them that house. The market, like you said, I still feel like it's great. I've had a great year. My numbers are still great. But just because people think, oh, well, houses aren't flying off the market or whatever, I'm not going to be the reason my client doesn't get a house. And so, yeah, there's days when I'm working from home and, I may be in workout clothes and hair in a ponytail, and a client texts me and says, hey, this house came up. We'd like to go see it. Don't even have their house on the market, but they're a repeat client of mine. Guess what? I'm freshening up and throwing on some different clothes and some lip gloss, and I'm going to show them that house. I never want to be the reason somebody missed out on a house. I do believe everything happens for a reason, and if it's meant to be, it'll be. But backtrack, you got to put in the work. You got to put in the work. You got to show people you're working. Don't be a secret agent. I teach that in when I was doing training. It's weird for me now being a JLA and not doing training, because I did so much training at our RE/MAX office. But don't be a secret agent. New agents need to be working open houses. I've been doing it this long and I still do open houses almost every single weekend. That gives you something to promote. Drive through a neighborhood, your own neighborhood, and be like, hey, this is such a great neighborhood to live in. Post different stats about real estate. I mean, there's a million trillion on Instagram, Pinterest. Post something real estate related. I get so bad about just doing real estate stuff that, as you could see, because you're my friend on social media, I just got caught up. I think I'm caught up through the end of May now on personal posts, because I was like, wait a minute, these people are going to get tired of seeing real estate stuff. I need to remind them I have a family and a life outside of this. And John said that today on our thing. Don't just post real estate stuff. But if you're not posting real estate at all, they're going to think, okay, you're just another agent that just got in the business that won't be here tomorrow. You've got to put in the time. You've got to put in the work. If I was a new agent today, I would be reaching out to my people I know that like me, constantly. And I would be posting at least once a day, something real estate related. You can do that from the bathtub. I do it from the bathtub, from your bed. If you don't want to get up and work, social media was not a thing when I started. I paid a fortune for the Deer Park Broadcaster and the Pasadena paper. And I used my kids, and I would have their picture taken in baseball jerseys and, hit a home run, list your house with my mom. I mean, the amount of money I spent on advertising marketing in the beginning and what I was making then versus what I make now. And I've spent less than probably $300 a month on marketing. And that's just to my people. Social media is free. I tell people this: if you're not using it as a seasoned agent or even as a new agent, you're missing the mark. You're missing the mark. It's free. And so that's something that they can do. And don't give up. If they've only been doing it, they're new, or they've only been doing it 6 months. It took me, people, call me all the time, like, as I'm sure they do you, and message me, hey, I'm thinking about getting my real estate license. And, in the beginning, when that would happen, 10, 15 years ago, oh, okay, go here, do this, blah, blah, blah. Now I'm like candid. I'm like, it costs money. This is how much money I spend a month on HAR, that all the fees, you got to have a Supra, you got to have signs, you have to, and I'm just brutally honest with people now. But if you get into this business and you think you're going to be a top producer overnight, that does not happen very often. I know a handful of agents that have had really good 6-figure, years in their first 2 to 3 years, but that doesn't happen normally. Those people worked their tails off and had a great book of friends and, sphere of influence that they had those connections with. But don't be a secret agent, and you got to put in the time would be my two. I know you said one, but I couldn't hear myself. They kind of go hand in hand. They kind of go hand in hand. But yeah, I mean, social media is free. And if you're not using it, you're losing the mark, because that's one way to show people, hey, they don't know that that's not your listing that you're doing the open house on. Post the open house, video yourself while you're there, before, after, talk about it. Like, that's a few key points right there. That's at least 3 or 4 posts that you can do that week that shows, hey, she or he is working. They're doing this thing. But don't give up.
Yeah, it's like that perception is reality. Like, if people are seeing you doing stuff and genuinely working at it, and you're doing it in your role and posting it, like, people, that Juli person's pretty busy. Maybe I should work with it. People don't want to hire you to sell their $500,000, $1 million house and not think that you're a busy person.
Right.
They want somebody that knows what they're doing. So yes, great advice.
For sure.
Juli, somebody's listening today and they're like, I want to know this Juli Morman, or maybe they're thinking about buying, selling, or investing in real estate in the greater Houston area. And they're like, I can connect with her at this level. How do they reach out to you?
I'm on everything. So I'm on TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, X, Facebook. I'm everywhere. And you just find me under Juli Morman. Now it's spelled different. So it's Juli, no E. My mom, I don't know why. And then Morman, not the religion, Morman. So Juli Morman, you can find me on all platforms that way.
Well, Juli, thank you for being on the show today.
Yes.
And great conversation, and glad to get to know you better.
Yes.
And look forward to getting to know you better. Even more, and watching you do your business. I've watched your business over the years. You're an amazing agent, and
thank you.
You've accomplished some great things. So thank you again for being on the show.
Yes. Thanks for having me. I enjoyed it.
All right. Until next time, onward and upward.